Hello, my name's Soana and I'm Tongan.
My name is Mama and I'm Cook Island.
And we're from
Auckland, New Zealand. Hey.
And today we want to talk to you about how sometimes we go through things that we can't always share or don't even want to share with others, but it's things that weigh heavy on us. It's something that we really want to deal with and talk about today.
Like you saw the title, Trust the Process. That's something we dance, and that's something that a lot of creatives use. They always say trust the process when they're, creating something. Whatever you're going through, that thing that you like, that's really hard in your life right now, and you feel like God's not listening to you or God's not there, we just wanted to make this video to encourage you to trust God with wherever you're at right now.
I can't do it! Especially for me last year, God came through for me on something that I was praying for, and he was telling me to let go of some things, and I was like, no God, I don't want to let go of this. I can't do it. Like, no. And I didn't know what life would look like on the other side. That was something I was clinging on to, but I decided to just trust him and go with his process. And now looking back on this year, I realized there was a reason why he told me to do certain things. There's a reason why he tells you to do things that don't make sense at the time. So there's a reason for the process.
Yes. Even for me, last year was a really hard year for me. It was so hard. Like, everyone kept telling me, just trust God, just trust what God's doing in your life. And I'm like, I was getting so frustrated at the time, and I was just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
what does that even mean?
What does that mean? Where am I going? What am I doing? But and honestly, at the time, there's been so many times where I've just felt like I just wanted to chuck everything in and just give up.
Even this year, when we were like, okay, new year, new us, God, you're with us, there were still moments where we wanted to give up. Going into the rest of this year, I wanted to throw in the towel for something, but then I felt like God led us to this camp. I had uni on, I had money that I wanted to save up. I actually paid to go camp on the last week, and I'm so glad that I did, because that's where I met Mama. But even you were telling me she didn't want to go as well.
Yeah, I really didn't want to go, because a week before going to camp, I had the money to go a week before, but then my car got stolen.
Yeah.
And after that, I just didn't want to go. I knew I had to pay for other things. I just wasn't excited about going. I had a dream before going, which kind of pushed me to go, but we'll get back to that.
Yeah, and just adding on to that, us both not wanting to go on camp, our minds were, I think it was because our minds were on that thing that we're talking about. We both separately had something on our minds that was weighing heavy on us, and we just thought
it was on our troubles.
Yeah,
we weren't.
For me, I was like, camp, I can't really go to camp. I need to sort myself out, I need to do this, but if we weren't obedient, because I feel like God was actually leading us to it, and he was dropping hints, and he was making sure that finances were worked out, that we ended up going. So it's really important in this part of our story that if we weren't obedient or sensitive to the Spirit, to take that risk to just be like, okay God, if this is your process, I'm just gonna go, no regrets.
So if God's telling you to do something, then be obedient, because you might miss out on the blessings that will come with your obedience.
And so one of the blessings was definitely meeting Mama, and we'll get to that point. But we met each other in the car 4 a.m. I was driving the car.
My car got stolen, so I
you had to jump in with someone.
Car.
But she wasn't even meant to be in mine. It was so last minute. We were already we hit the gas to go to Hamilton. We got a call, but we're at the gas station, and then someone's like, oh, can you take Mama? And I didn't know her, and I was like, can we? Nah. I was like, yeah, all good. So we came and got her. So she came into our car last minute, but then in the car on the way, there was conversations going. SZA was playing, and then everyone was enjoying SZA, right? And then out of nowhere,
what song we're talking
about? It's the weekend. Yeah. And then out of nowhere, everyone's just jamming, and then she's like, why are you playing the song? You're encouraging side chicks. Do you want to be a side chick? Well, something like that.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, whoa.
Everyone went quiet, and I felt bad. But that for me, if you're around that kind of music, just think about what you're inviting into your mind. And for me, like I've been like lately I've been so careful about what I invite into my mind. I don't want garbage going into my mind.
But why this was so important was because, like I said, I didn't know her, but when she started making these like claims in the car, I started to really like, she really started to stand out. And how I knew it was someone that could possibly on the same journey as me is because I recognized her by her fruit. And that was her fruit, like standing up for, not conforming to worldly music, and sharing her thoughts that aligned with the values of God that I knew of. So that was in the car. She said all these other things that I was like, wait a minute, like, do we mean the same thing? Are we in the same program? Like,
oh, for me, when I started seeing her fruits was in the cabin
at camp.
Yeah, and so like I was like, okay girls, would you guys be keen to like pray in the morning and at night? And everyone else was like,
it was like, everyone was like, we're all in our own world.
Yeah, everyone was like, yeah. But Soana was the one that was like really backing me up, like, and I was like, yeah, this girl's got me, like, I
was in my own world, but when I heard it, I was like, yes, like, let's talk about Jesus. Like, I need
and so
some
we
girlfriend.
did,
Sorry, keep going. So that was the cabin. But then with camp, we went out, we did our own thing. We still didn't, we thought these things about each other.
We didn't tell each other.
We didn't tell. So I was like, this girl, like, but then we just, camp happened, danced, had fun. But where the miracle really happened for us was on our way back to Hamilton. There was an event that we were going to. Two of our friends in our car was competing, and so when we pulled up, me and this one had a chance to have dinner while the other two were like,
I heard her when we pulled up, I heard her say butter chicken, like, oh look, there's a butter chicken place. It was right like in the front of our car. And this was an important moment because in this dinner meeting, everything that we thought about but more was like revealed to us through God. We had so many confirmations about what he was doing with us separately. So he was dealing with us and those hidden issues that we were talking about, but God was like speaking to us. He was building us up, but alone. And then that dinner was like he aligned it all together and made it all make sense. Last year was a hard year for both of us, like, but we didn't know, like, God was taking us through like he was taking us through things separately, and even with like callings for the future and assignments. This is the key thing, like the assignment God had told us separately was a similar assignment. So when we came together, we realized we had the same heart. But you have to understand, like, we were ready to like give up like
before camp.
And like, and even for me, like, I was like, God, is this really, like, because the dreams that God's placed on our hearts, it's a big dream.
It's a big
and I'm like, are you sure, like, this is from you? Is this like, and
it was like, I don't know how I can do this. And like the meeting and the dinner was the answer, confirming to us that God is giving us the assistance. He confirmed to us that all the decisions that he made us, he led us to do last year in the was for this very moment. And we were just like, thank you God, like, we understand the process now, like this is the result of it, this is the other side of it.
And last year was hard, like, you know, like when you're going through the motions of the oceans and you're like, it was such a slow process.
It was, and then like,
but we look back at it now and we're like,
we're thankful.
We're thankful,
because then when the appointed time came, the appointed meeting,
dinner meeting,
it just like, all of it made sense. It was a suddenly act of God. And I guess we can't fully explain it, but hopefully you'll be able to join us on our journey so we can show more. But what was buzzy, even the fact that separately, before we met each other, we've been keeping journals to God. So everything he told us, we'd write down and like,
so there was like, we had dinner and we started like slowly realizing that, hey, like, things that she's talking about are things that I've, you know, that God has been talking to me about. So they were, at one point we were just like, okay, just be completely honest. You tell me everything and I will tell you everything.
Transparent. And going back to the beginning, we said like, we go through things that we don't want to share with just anyone or just everyone. So like I said, our issues or our things that we're going through, we only told God. And for him to like bring us to a space where we were going through exactly like twinning type of things, and then have our journals look the same.
And so she was sharing and I was like, oh my goodness. So I pulled out my journal and I showed her like, oh, like I showed her something on like
a different section.
Yeah, and then she was like, hey, like she was looking at everything else. Yeah. And she was like, hey, like
I recognize
like who that person is. Like, and I was just like, oh, like so we from there like, and then at that moment, so at that moment when I realized that like she was like, hey, like looking at my journal, I realized because a week before, remember the dream?
Yeah, she had a dream.
A week before camp. So in the dream, I was at a camp with my cousin, and I just remember my cousin telling me like, I want to go to church, I want to go to church, I want to go to church, and I was like, okay. And then it skipped to like a different scene where I was just like surrounded around a lot of people, and they were just like cheering, a lot of young people, and I was like, okay, like I'm obviously at a camp. But then it skipped to a different scene, and this last scene, like I knew, okay, God was telling me go on this camp. But the last scene, I was sitting down at a table with a girl, and I thought the person in my dream, the girl that I was sitting next to, she had long hair, thick eyebrows. I thought she was my friend from high school. But then at that moment, like when she was reading my journal, I realized, hey, that's the girl from my dream.
She said it. She's like, I had a dream about you, and I was like, what? Okay. And then like she explained it. And that was like the moment for us when we were like, God, this is part of the process. You will show yourself up, because it just showed that God already knew about our situations and about our meeting before we even decided to go camp. Like,
and like just to like add on, like last year we went through, I'm not gonna make out like I was perfect. I was not perfect. Like I was a mess. I was a mess. Like I was very lukewarm. I was going to God and crying and praying, but then at the same time, like when I hit the weekend, I was dancing it up. Like
we were getting lit.
But like even through like that's what we're talking about, trust God through the process. Like even through all the mess, like even though we stuff up, like learn to get back up and just keep running towards God. Like
and I guess that's the message from us now, because after that meeting, how we feel now is I fully trust God now. Oh, like
100, like
I'm gonna try.
If God tells me to do something crazy, I'm gonna do something. Brush someone's hair, I will brush their hair.
Because like I feel so motivated to do what He's called us or me to do, because He's already shown me that He is the all-knowing God.
It makes
He has it all planned. Like when she talked about having a dream about me a week before camp, which showed that God had it planned way before, it just shows me that God has certain things aligned for you, certain moments of your life, and they're good things. You know, He's a loving Father, and all we have to do is just keep walking and like accessing it that way and not staying stuck, because that's where I felt I was before. I was stuck in my mindset and my doubt, but like after that encounter with her and with God, I'm just ready to just keep going, just
keep running,
keep seeing, no matter how bad it looks.
There's a scripture and it talks about running to win, and that for me, like after our meeting, like I woke up the next morning and I was like, okay, I have a lot of work to do. I'm ready to run. I'm ready to honor God with my life.
And we know that all things work for the good of those who love Him. All things
so
for our good.
If there's something like hard that you're going through, just trust that like God knows what He's doing. I mean, like now, I did go through a really hard time, but like I'm like now finding moments of like joy, and I know you might be like, well, you don't get what I'm going through right now, this is really hard. Well, I do, because at the time I felt the exact same way thing. And and the whole message is just to trust God in the middle of your mess, because
He'll lead you to suddenly moments. And now we're making videos, or this video for you as like a testimony. So trust God. Romans 8:28, He works all things for our good, and we want to thank Jesus for this, and we want to thank you for watching our video.
We hope this like encouraged you guys,
because it really has changed our lives. We can't show it fully, but we can just share a little bit with you.
You will see though, you will see.
And speaking of that, if you want to see more, we've got more coming. Press the subscribe button, the notifications button. If you have anything you want to share with us, feel free to hit us up, you know. We'll drop all the links of our social media below, and also hit the subscribe button. Jump in the comment section. Comment section.
Yeah, and another thing, like if you feel like if you're watching this and you feel like the Holy Spirit is leading you to speak to one of us, message us. Like, yo, we're here. We haven't fully like gone into detail about the things that we've been through, but we will we will help you and encourage you with whatever you're going through.
Yeah, we're here in New Zealand. Sorry,
New Zealand.
New Zealand. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for our next video. And have a great, I don't know what that, have a great
hey.
Alright, bye.
Bye.